is a presentation of the iRacing Esports Network.
Last year I was sitting at a desk as a sales manager, and now I'm official McLaren F1 simulator test driver.
Magnussen is 1.4 behind.
This opportunity is huge.
That's faster than the factory McLaren driver, and he's done 6 laps.
Let's go race.
It is Monday night, and that means, as it's been the case now for over the last 4 years, we welcome you to Club UK&I Ireland Monday Night Skippys in support of the Campaign Against Living Miserably, the Calm Zone. Will Vincent here, along with Neil Hickley, as we've got a bit of a situation today. Rachel Whiteford's on holiday. We've got ourselves Connery Maddock. He's doing other things on Monday nights these days. I mean, this Bromstrom's on holiday, so basically, Neil, we're running the ship tonight.
What could possibly go wrong? And especially on a track like this, as short as Summit Point where we are this evening, I'm currently counting 47 cars on this 3.19 kilometre track. Today, it's all just going to be about keeping your nose of trouble. If you manage to do that, you're no doubt going to get a fantastic finishing position.
Yep, Summit Point, well, you can see there's 2 different tracks there. We're only running one of them today. That's a normal track, not the Jefferson one. And we're running the one that's got the very, very long run down in towards turn number 1. That essentially means that the outside line, it can work. You've got to be very bold and you've got to be very aggressive if you need to do that. However, that run down into what then becomes turn number 3, incredibly fun to watch. Basically, as soon as you get to turn number 5, Neil, what you do, you grab a quick sip of your tea, you crack open a biscuit, and you forget about the cars for about 20 seconds.
About 20 seconds or so, but so much time can be lost in that very slow technical section by turn 5, 6, 7, 8, up in that area. It's very difficult to just get a little bit offline because you need to brake and turn and weight shift all at the same time, and it really is trying to balance the car on balance the car throughout those corners. So a surprising amount of time can be lost there, and of course if you don't get a good run out of there, you can be mugged coming down to that very, very treacherous last turn.
Yep, Simon Povey right now is the fastest driver in qualifying. Don't worry, he has got a number. It's just that whole thing we don't often get World Championship licensed drivers in this series. And, well, Simon Povey in that number 45 car, 1 minute 19.459. Benny Simonson, second place right now. Bill Fraser, third. Raheem Atanadas, fourth. Jack Hobbs in fifth. To do the Rachel Whiteford famous 1 second bracket, that is currently 21 drivers, Neil, who are separated within 1 second around this racetrack. What that essentially means, it's going to be carnage on lap 1.
This is a short, fast, furious track. As you said, the current pole position time of 1:19.46. And with this being an 18-lap race, it really is going to be a fast and furious event. You do not want to miss a single second of it.
Yeah, let's have a look on board with a couple of drivers, shall we? This is driver Nicholas Vaughan Roberts as he works himself through turn number 3, that gravel trap there. A lot of people are going to be running over that one in the course of this event. Qualifying, by the way, just to let you know, is over. So if you're on the lap, great. If you're not on the lap, well, it's game over for you, basically. You are now going to be starting no higher than where you have previously been. We've got ourselves Jack Hobbs on track in the number 361 car. Coming past the start-finish line. Hobbs will come past the start-finish line. And he does not improve that last time by 3/10 slower than his fastest.
Yep, 3/10 slower, a 20 dead, pretty much as close as it can be. No improvement there, but yes, that 21 cars, I make that, yeah, it's still 21 cars in that 1 second bracket. These cars are so close, especially with the Skip Barber Formula 2000s that we're racing here this evening. They are low-powered cars, and they do punch a massive hole in the air, which is going to be very important coming down to that massive turn 1 braking point.
The M word is coming out to play today, and that M word is momentum. You lose momentum here now, you'll lose 10 positions. Simple as that.
Yes, especially with how close these cars are, as we've already seen in this qualifying session. If you get into the gravel, 2 wheels into that gravel at turn 3, or indeed at the last turn, and you're just going to be trait framed all the way to the back of that train.
Well, it is pretty much qualifying over. Let's have a look at your starting grid for this edition of Monday Night Skippies. It is Simon Povey, qualifying time 1 minute 19.459. Gets pole position here by just over a tenth of a second from Benny Simonson. Third place, Bill Fraser. P4 for him, Atanides. And well, Fraser Atanides, of course, in terms of the championship, that one is going to be fascinating to watch again. Here today, row number 3, Jack Hobbs and Ben Daniels. Ewan Patterson, P number 7. Simon Edwards in 8th place, Anthony Catt in 9th, and Paul Grillo rounds out your top 10. Nicholas Vaughan Roberts in 11th, Christoph Grant, Claire Hughes, Clark Williams, and Nick Sigley round out your top 15. One thing you noticed off there, Neil, bit of a big grid here tonight.
Yes, it's going to be, well, every car gets about 70 metres or so if you put them equally all the way around the track, and that is certainly not a lot of room. You've got to be very, very careful coming into turn 1. If you're lucky, if you're towards the back of the grid, you can get a lot of places up on that first braking zone. But you've got to get there first.
You are entirely right. Live timing and scoring will be available once this race commences at RaceSpot.tv/timing, although our diehard fans will know that. Hello to any new fans, and of course this race is brought to you in support of the Campaign Against Living Miserably. The Karma Zone will talk more about that one after this race is scored complete, because drivers, well, they're almost all set up now, just waiting for Simon Povey. We are getting ready then to go racing. This is Monday Night Skippies. There is a look at the front of your field. There is a look as we wait for those lights to go on top of the iRacing gantry for 18 laps worth of racing. Calm before the storm. Lights are going to be illuminated. in a moment's time. In a moment's time, we're almost there then. So the whole thing, you say something's about to happen, now it will happen. Now we go green. It was a long way, but it's worth it in the end. Drivers are going to storm themselves down towards turn number 1. There is a look at the front of your field. You can see they're snaking already all over the place. They come down in towards turn number 1. We have got a battle going on out front. Go on.
Yeah, contact immediately between the front row coming into turn 1, but they've managed to keep it going for now at least. Having a look further down the field, and I don't think there has been any instance at the moment, at least in the first 30 or so. But I say that there's an incident at the front of the pack, sideways, cars in the air.
Oh my word!
Oh my goodness, what a massive accident!
A huge one. This is going to take out at least 10 drivers, if not more. They're still crashing as they exit themselves out of turn number 3. My word, that was huge. Let's get ourselves a replay from our aerial coverage. Well, where do you even start with this one? In towards turn number 3, and it's going to be right out the front, actually, because it involves, well, so many drivers. I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I count about 15, 16 drivers involved there.
Yes, and the driver that's came out on top is Ben Daniels. He did start 6th, but now he's found himself in the lead of the race.
Yep.
After half a lap, he's gained 5 positions.
Yeah, and that all started with Simon Povey right at the very front. Here's one more look again. On board with him, well, he often complains about us in replays. He's not going to be happy about this one. Coming down in towards turn number 3. Down to the inside, goes to number 41 machine, and it all really kicks off from there. This is the craziest start to Monday Night Skippies we have ever seen, and this is the reason why. Your people on pit road after 1 lap is as follows. Deep breath time here. Well, you've got Crystal Keeble, Wayne Thomas, Simon Povey, Kieran Flynn, Dave Cameron, Alan Patterson, Simon Edwards, Nicholas Warren Roberts, Simon Edwards, Daniel Ray, Paul Grilloy, James McGriffey, Matt Cox, Christopher Kelsey. I believe that's about 15 drivers. I'm doing the maths here, trying to talk. You talk for a second, Neil. I'm going to learn how to count again.
Trying to do all that maths, but having a look back up at the front of the pack, and is essentially a pack race at this point. He's almost watching like NASCAR at Talladega or Daytona. But now, as you were speaking there, nice move into turn 3 there by Benny Simonson, takes the lead away from Ben Daniels. So Simonson comes across the line now to finish lap 2, as you see the gravel being kicked up behind all these cars. As I'm having a look behind them for about 10th place. I think it's 3 wide, but I say that for the lead of the race. Ben Daniels trying to go around the outside of Simonson into turn 1, and he's managed to complete the move before he even gets there. And I say that he's still trying to hang on round the outside. A fantastic job, as we're now 3 wide for the lead.
Yeah, they work themselves on the exit of turn number 2, down towards 3 again. It's now Ben Daniels, 027 car, who has the lead. Benny Simonson in that 41 car. Let's not forget, it was Simonson who had that moment with Simon Povey that started that huge chain reaction. There is damage to the front of that number 41 car, but he is still going behind. Jack Hobbs, Fahim Atanides are going at it. Worth noting, Bill Fraser and Fahim Atanides, they are still in this event. 2 drivers with championship potential, of course. But Daniels, it will calm down here for a lap or so. But Daniels leads by 1/4 of a second over Simonson. Then he's 1/4 of a second back further to Fraser. 4 times of a second back is Fahim Atanides from that, as you see all the cars then just storming themselves through the second to last corner.
Yes, this very, very difficult final corner. The dust being kicked up yet again. 3rd, 4th, 5th place, all going slightly wide. Having a look further down the field, it looks like the biggest mover so far is John McGovern in that number 1 car. Currently in 19th place, but started 36th, so plus 17 for him, as Ben Daniels just had the lead of the race going across the line that time around. But he's not managed to keep it.
It's not. Looking on board of Clahuse, and of course, he had a fantastic race at Spa a couple of weeks ago. Almost won our 4-year anniversary race, but here's Daniels. Let's go on board of him as well. He has led laps here today in that Union flag covered car. as it were, in towards 4, towards 5. Once again, it is Fraser ahead of him. Daniels looks as though he's kind of content right now to sit where he is in that 3rd place. And of course, a lot of drivers don't want to show their hands too early. As we've got Barry West, Robert Plumney. They go side by side, 11th and 12th.
Yes, fairly content at the head of this train of 9 cars. I'd be fairly scared of what would be happening behind me if I was in Benny Simmonson's place. But indeed, coming down towards the final corner, that was Bill Fraser in that number 13 car, having a dart to the right-hand side to see if he could make a move into the final corner, but decided against it. Will he decide to make a move coming down and towards that very, very heavy braking zone of turn 1 as he moves to the left-hand side of the track as they cross the line? Simonson takes that lap by 0.02 of a second.
Yeah, side by side, they could go 3 wide again in towards 1. No. Fraser's got himself enough of a draft that he's passed. Simonson has to fall back down into 2nd place. Then 3rd place is going to be the driver Ben Daniels, just for the moment. Exit then of 2 in towards 3. Simon Maltby, Tim Adcock. They're going at it a little bit further back right now. So go on board with Simon Maltby. Looks like he's going to lose that position to Tim Adcock. That's the battle going on for the last in your top 10. As ahead of them, Anthony Catt. Just keep an eye on him, because he's one of those people quietly waiting in that car, the Chelsea car. I've got to take the mickey out of it every time I see it, basically.
Yes, just biding his time should anything happen to this massive, massive lead pack. He'll be there to take the winnings, but having a look at it, still Bill Fraser in the lead of this race after taking that lead into turn 1. But what we've seen here over the first few laps or so is that you can just make a launch of the last corner and take the lead at the start-finish line. That could be very, very important for the end of the race. You've got to have a very good run of that last corner, and you've just got to time it right.
Yeah, and Simonson does not have that 1 lap time by, but he will get himself a nose ahead as they enter the braking zone in towards turn 1. Note the fact that Fraser gave him the line initially there, but Simonson will push wide on the exit of turn number 1. So he will have to fall back into that 2nd place as you've got yourself still your top 8. But let's show them at the bottom of your screen real quick as it is Fraser leading from Simonson, then Daniels, Atenides, Hobbs, Williams, Hughes and Catt. As now we've got ourselves a more racy Ben Daniels coming out to play, as well as Clark Williams. He started to put on the pressure a little bit, and he's running in P6.
Running in P6 at the moment, as you said, a good job so far for him after starting in 14th place. A very good job, plus it's in this opening 5 laps as we cross the line this time by. Going to be 1/3 of the way through this race, and it only feels like it's been a couple of minutes. Bill Fraser in that number 13 car, still in the lead. There's the car back in 6th place, I believe. I think that was Williams having a very big moment coming onto that 2nd last straight through the final corner. The question is, will Simonson launch an attack into turn 1?
Yeah, there's a replay on board of the number 98 car, Clark Williams just hits the entry curb. The curbs here, some of them are low, you can run on them, but that curb on the entry to the 2nd to last corner, definitely not. There's some moves and shakers so far in the event, by the way, on the left-hand side of your screen. Note Simon Maltby's up 13 places. Robert Plumney up 17 places here today. Ian Patterson is down 2. He's the only driver to be losing positions right now in your top 15. There you are. Oh, we got contact again.
There's contact between the lead. Oh my goodness, how that was not a bigger accident, I do not understand. Contact between Simonson and Fraser coming into turn 3. Fraser going up on 2 wheels through the gravel, and I have no idea how that was not a bigger incident. Fraser down into 4th place now. Simonson takes the lead of the race.
The thing is here, this is exactly the same incident as what we saw on lap number 1 of this event. It was almost picture perfect. The difference is that for Simonson, he actually, this time, in the same position, got himself down to the inside. I want to show the aerial coverage here. Same exact move there as he did earlier on, but this time that number 13 machine of Bill Fraser able to hold on. He drifts it and gets back on track, but that is twice now. A very risky move's been made by Benny Simonson in towards turn 3, and he's down to the inside of Fahim Atanides in towards 1 on this, the 8th lap of the motor race. And the thing is here, Neil, at this point, if you know that you've had the same incident with a driver twice, you're always going to be very careful, as you don't want to have it again a third time there. Simonson, I think Atanides like, okay, I'm thinking of the championship now.
Yes, thinking of the championship, you've always got to do that, especially when you're in such a tight battle pack as this. I still think we've got, I still make that 8 cars or so in this lead pack, and it is Benny Simonson still in the lead of this race, but it's now Fahim Atanides right there behind him, someone that we've not seen take the lead so far, but no doubt he will at some point coming down in towards turn 1, or at least we'll get a nose in front at some point. Ben Daniels in 3rd, and Jack Hobbs in 4th.
Yeah, and of course, Atanides has won the most races of anyone so far this season, but with what a topsy-turvy race it's been, worth noting where his championship contenders are. In terms of Simon Edwards, he's all the way down.
Simonson was very wide. Simonson went very, very wide at the final turn, got into the gravel, no doubt picked up one of those dreaded 1Xs. That allows Fahim to move to the left-hand side of the track, coming down towards turn 1. And it looks like Ben Daniels is going to follow Atanides behind him, but by the time they get towards turn 1, there's a stranded car right there in the middle of the track. My goodness, but Atanides continues in the lead of this race and has got it away from Simonson for now. And indeed, coming towards turn 3, it appears that that number 8 car has taken the lead of this race.
He has done, and he's got himself a 1/10 of a second gap right now over Simonson. But to go back to that point, Simon Edwards, who was second in the championship heading in, he is down right now outside of your top 30 in 34th position. Anthony Catt, he was 3rd in the championship coming into this one. He is not in your top 15. And Clark Williams, well, he's the best of everyone right now. He is in 7th place. So for Atanides here, Neil, this will give the opportunity for him to extend out his championship lead as we come towards the back end of the season. This could be very crucial for him now.
It could be very, very crucial at this point. You've always got to pick up points where your rivals do not. And it appears that Atanides is doing that very well as we come across the line just about in a few seconds' time. And that will be the halfway point of this race as Bill Fraser goes wide at the final turn. And look at this. They're all snaking left and right across the track to try and break each other's slipstream. 3 wide again for the lead.
They are, as they come down in towards that first corner again. Here they are, 1, 2, 3. They all settle it down again. No, that's a moment there for him. He's turned around almost in towards turn number 1. And that means that he's now falling down into 8th place. And that is Clark Williams now. He's gone ahead. So it's all going rosy for Fahim until they enter turn number 1. That time by.
Simonson almost going to Narnia off of turn 3 there, taking a trip through the gravel trap. I think he was about to get the picnic out and be at the beach. My goodness, that was very, very wide there. But now, I believe, if I have a look, I think it's Bill Fraser back up into that 2nd place position, so we could see a rerun of that race from earlier on, Simonson versus Fraser. But I believe what caused that incident at turn 1 is that Simonson got ahead, then broke, and I don't think Atanides was really quite anticipating it, and it just created a massive concertina effect on that apex of turn 1, and unfortunately it was Atanides that got turned round.
Yeah, we've got ourselves 7 laps remaining in this race, and you are quite right there, Neil. It did seem to be a bottle effect.
Fraser going cross-country skiing in that car. My goodness, how he kept a hold of that, I do not know, but that means he's very, very slow on this main straight coming down towards turn 1, and he's getting gobbled up by the pack behind. He's back down to 5th or 6th place, which means, and I say that, I think that's Ben Daniels gone very wide as well at turn 1, which means it's now Jack Hobbs in 2nd place.
Indeed, so that was all the way down the start-finish straight, and as a consequence, actually, it meant that Daniels ended up being 3 wide in towards turn number 1. Now, the gap between Simonson and Jack Hobbs is up to 1.2 seconds. That's Fraser's going 2 wide with Clark Williams behind. That is for 5th place on track. They just bang wheels a little bit, but that's going to be okay. It will bring P5, 6, 7 into closer contention as they exit that corner. But for him, of course, now he's got Clark Williams on his outside. They'll fall back to single file for the moment, but this is 2 drivers inside your top 5 of the championship, Neil, both who want a good finish here. Clark Williams has the opportunity to move up in the championship with a top 5 here today.
Indeed, has that opportunity, in having a look back at this 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th battle pack. It's like having a traffic jam at 100 miles an hour. It's unbelievable. But for the first time this race, we've actually seen the leader break free of the slipstream. Benny Simonson currently 1 1/4 seconds in the lead ahead of Jack Hobbs, who in turn is 9/10 ahead of Blair Hughes in that 42 car. But it's really the first time that we've seen the leader of this race be free of the slipstream.
Yeah, on board of Paul Thurston, as he is going to get past a lapped teammate of his, as a 220 machine of Daryl Taylor is right behind as well. That is down, as I say, 12th, 13th, 14th place on track. Atanides Fraser, that is the number 13 car going off there. That is Bill Fraser just missing the tyre barrier as he works himself. Well, that's not the first time someone's done that today in turn number 4, but Fraser, the kind of grass here now is very similar to the Canadian Tires Motorsports Park, that once you go off, it's very hard to either slow the car down or to get back on track.
I know the feeling at Mosport, just getting the 2 wheels on the grass and just seeing the wall coming at you and there's nothing you can do about it. That dreadful feeling that you have when you think you've just thrown away a good qualifying lap, or indeed a good race. As having a look at that final corner again, that gravel trap getting a little bit of a raking there by these Skip Barber Formula 2000s, with cars going very, very wide again, and arguably that is the most difficult corner on this track. It is very, very fast. And it is so easy just to get 2 wheels in that gravel, and that could be you visiting Mr. Tyre Barrier.
Darryl Taylor gets himself past teammate Paul Thurston as they come down into 1 once again around here, as we've got ourselves behind, this is outside of your top 10, we've got ourselves Stephen Nubbs and Dave Kirkman. They are battling for P number 18-19. Note that only 22 drivers have not been on pit road today, of a field of 46, of which 43 started their actual race here. So that means almost half our field in an 18-lap event have made a journey onto pit road for some reason. I think that might be the highest, as Clark Williams has had a moment, and he is going to be classified as out as well. Make that now half the field. This could be a repeat. Oh my word, no it's not. That's the number 43 car that was just drifting across the track, and Clark Williams had nowhere to go.
The 43 car being Daniel Ray, now a lap down, having been lapped that time round. So it looks like it was lap traffic, not necessarily knowing where to go, as having Hobbs and Hughes coming into 1, having a battle side by side. And it is the 361 car has stayed out in front, Jack Hobbs, but that gap is closing. What was 1 1/4 seconds a couple of laps ago has now halved, is now 6.5 tenths.
Yep, so there's a replay on board with Daniel Ray. But that now gives Atanides advantage once again. Yes, he is running in P number 5 as Ian Patterson and Bill Fraser go at it for P number 7 on track. But it does mean that Fahim Atanides right now has again got himself championship momentum here. As well, as he talked about Edwards already having issues. Cat is in 4th place. Cat's actually ahead of Atanides, and he will just close that gap down a little bit. But the gap between the 2 drivers is 3 seconds, and actually Cat is more focused on Claire Hughes and Jack Hobbs ahead, who are both in touching distance. And also note the fact that your top 3 are once again separated by 0.5 of a second.
Yes, as we come down to 4 laps to go this time round, as we come across the line, Benny Simonson has been reeled in by the 2-car train of Hobbs and Hughes as they come down towards turn 1. Braking hard, Simonson has to try and defend from both fronts as Hobbs goes to the right, Hughes to the left, but still keeps a hold of that lead. But of course that little battle pack has meant that Anthony Cat in that number 15 car has got closer and closer, and is now right on the rear end of these 3.
Yeah, as let's a look at the top 4 drivers actually, because Cat is there. Now, the only thing that could happen here for Atanides to make his life easier is if these 4 start battling before they get to the white flag, because you will lose at least 1.5 seconds a lap if you end up scrapping too wide, especially in this tight and twisty section of the racetrack that goes from turn number 5 basically down towards the second to last corner. But let's go on board of Claire Hughes, because of course he was the driver that almost won on his opening race in the Club UK&I then Monday Night Skippys Championship at Spa a couple of weeks ago, but now he runs himself in that 3rd position. He's closing up to your 2 leaders of Jack Hobbs and Benny Simonson, and we are going to be set for a drag race again, as the drivers will now work themselves down towards turn number 1. Simonson takes the inside line, Hobbs to the middle part of the racetrack, and he will get ahead before they get towards turn number 1, and Hughes, arguably wisely, stays in line for the time being.
You say that rear end decided to not stick to the ground under acceleration out of turn 1. There was a big slide from Hughes there, but indeed Hobbs now has got the lead of this race. 3 laps to go here at point less than 10 kilometres left in this race. That 361 car in the lead. Simonson will no doubt launch an attack back, and we've seen that he's been very feisty this race. That could open it up for Hughes to take it.
Yeah, actually, we're going to go on board with Benny Simonson right now. They've got 2.5 laps to go. This is going to be Simonson working himself then through the S's. Now the right-hander to come, and the question's going to be, will Simonson stay in line this time by, or will he go back to the race lead? Because what we've often seen here, Neil, is that you can draft alongside, but as you mentioned earlier, unless you get a perfect run at the final corner, you are not going to get the lead before the start-finish line. As we're on board with Simonson, as he takes a little bit of an off-road excursion, and let's check, he will not get past before the start-finish line.
Yep, 0.03 of a second there, but they're still side by side. Hughes in the background looking, going to the very outside, but siding against it. But Simonson is now on the outside for turn 1, and he's made that into the lead. So Simonson in that 41 car and back into the lead. Hobbs in the 361 second, Hughes in the 42, and Anthony Catt in that 15 car, just sitting and waiting.
Yeah, and we have got ourselves just over a lap and a bit to go. Darrell Taylor, Tim Adcock, they're going at it for P10 on track right now. Ewan Patterson versus Bill Fraser, they are battling just ahead. This is for 7th place on the racing circuit, as Patterson right now will lose that position. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for us all to collectively now take a deep breath. Because as soon as these drivers will exit the next couple, it will be all gloves off. Now, Fahim Atenaides is 3.8 seconds behind your race lead, and he's also got Ben Daniels to battle with in the last lap and a bit. But let's compare that lap difference at the end, because this is where business will pick up. Off of the final corner for the penultimate time, that white flag will be out, and we will have one more lap to go here at Summit Point Raceway, and the battle begins in towards turn number 1. 2 wheels down on the grass there, car off, that is Jack Hobbs. So there's our first victim already before they even make it towards turn number 1. Now, Simonson has himself the race lead. It's Hughes in 2nd, Anthony Catt in the 3rd place. But from here on in, where do you try and make the move? How aggressive are you going to be? It's going to be Claire Hughes looking down to the inside. As well, Claire Hughes, as we talked about there, he's trying to work himself to the inside. He loses a bit of momentum. As a consequence of that, Catt will look to his outside as they come down into 4. Into 5, they will come for the final time here. Now, it's all going to be about, can Hughes get that run of either the second to last corner or the final corner? Jack Hobbs is battling with Tim Adcock. That is down in P number 11 now, but Hobbs, as we know, has got a severely damaged race car. Let's go on board with Hughes as he exits the penultimate corner. Just one more to go, and now it's about who can get the best run out of that final corner. Hughes stays behind on the entry. Will he be able to get the run on the exit of the corner? The answer is going to be no. It will be Benny Simonson who's going to win a controversial race here. Benny Simonson will win at Summit Point Raceway. Hughes in 2nd, Anthony Catt 3rd, and then Fahim Atenaides will come home in 4th. Ben Daniels rounds out your top 5, Neil.
Yes, Simonson taking that race by of 1/10 of 1 second. So close after 18 laps of racing here at Summit Point. 24 minutes and 15 seconds, your final race time. But yes, a very, very exciting, very, very chaotic race. And we never really knew who was going to win it until they left the last corner.
Yep, so here's a look then on board of Jack Hobbs. He works himself down to the inside. Well, I will say, I mean, I just want to rewind that another 10 seconds and show you this one again. So, Simonson makes a move to the right part of the track. At this point, there was a car width. Play again. Now you can see Jack Hobbs is clearly working down to that inside line. Simonson moves across, but not that much. And then Jack Hobbs does get 2 wheels on the grass. Now, Hobbs, it's going to be one of those ones that under normal circumstances, you'll say it could have been a bit too aggressive from Jack Hobbs. But Simonson involved in 3 incidents here today. You ask the question, did he win a little bit dirty?
Just having a look at that final move on the replay with Hobbs and Simonson. I'm not sure. I possibly think that Hobbs just chose the wrong side. He moved to the right hand side when Simonson was already moving to the right, and that gap just closed and closed and closed. I don't think Simonson actually deviated from his line at all. He didn't put any more right or left steering inputs in it. That steering wheel looked pretty straight to me. So I think for that final incident, I just think Hobbs chose the wrong side.
Yeah, let's see if we can get another look this time on board with Benny Simonson, as this might be a little bit too early. So we might just need to cycle it back one more time. Let's have a look then. Where are we in terms of... Yeah, this will be the right place to have it then. So let's have a look on board with Benny Simonson, as this is where we're going to need the cockpit camera right now. So on board with him. He makes that first move to the right, and at that point, I mean, that car is angling a little bit to the right, but it's not a kind of quote-unquote deliberate move. And then you have a look behind, you can see a car in the wall, and this is the driver of Claire Hughes trying to get himself past. What a race, though, we have had here today on Monday Night Skippies. Let's have a look at your final race results. Benny Simonson wins out then by 68 1,000ths of a second over Claire Hughes, who gets himself his second top 3 finish in 3 races in Club UK&I. Monday Night Skippies. Anthony Capp 3rd place, Fahim Atanides in 4th, then Daniels in 5th, Ewan Patterson, Bill Fraser, Robert Plumley, Darragh Taylor and Paul Thurston. They round out your top 10. Behind, you've got Tim Adcock, Adrian Hendy in 12th place, Tony Stack, Christoph Grant, Rob Marshall rounding out your top 15. Stephen Nobe, Simon Maltby, Dave Kurtman, Jack Hobbs, Christopher Keeble of 16 through 20, and the rest of the results are up on your screen for you now. Simon Edwards, by the way, after being down in 34th place earlier, did manage to recover up into P number 26. But you can see just how many retirees there were here today because of that huge incident down at turn number 1 involving your race leader at the time, Simon Povey, who is actually one of the drivers that's had an incident today with Benny Simonson. The second one, well, that was the driver of Bill Fraser. And then, of course, you've had the one on the last lap as well. So it's been a fascinatingly interesting day on Club UK&I Monday Night Skippies. We're going to take a break for 2 moments, and when we come back, we're going to talk to some people. And this could well be the most interesting post-race coverage we've had on Monday Night Skippies in a while. We'll be back in a minute.
So, you want to race in NASCAR. The road starts here. Introducing the eNASCAR Ignite Series powered by iRacing. This is the gateway for all aspiring 13 to 16-year-olds. Starting June 20th, ignite your dreams of one day racing in the top tiers of NASCAR. Go to www.iracing.com/ignite for full details.
Welcome back to Monday Night Skippies, and I'm not quite sure, Neil, which was the funnier one. The fact that we showed a commercial on a Club UK&I broadcast that people can't actually enter, or the fact that Baz West still continues to have microphone issues every single week.
I have no idea. I'm not sure which is more surprising, indeed.
Well, we are going to talk to some drivers. We are going to start with the driver of Fahim Atanides, P number 4. Well, P number 4 for him, but that could have been out of the event. That could have been P number 8, but it also could have been a race victory.
That's exactly right, Will. This is one of those tracks where it is a bit of a lottery, and it's such a fast, frenetic, bumpy track that anything can happen. And qualifying, open qualifying is always going to be a lottery on top of that. So fourth was pretty good, considering. And yeah, you're right. I could have. There was a point where I could have won it, and then from being first or almost in the lead, dropping down to I think it was about 9th. And then from there on, it was a little bit like hark back to my days when I was a kid in the bumper cars in the fairground. People were falling off in front of me, and I think you saw probably a couple of times I had to take to the dirt to avoid spinning cars. And it is a survival race, one where you have to try and survive. But I have to thank Bill Fraser. He could have fought me hard, but he decided to let me go. And I think Ben Daniels did the same. He could have passed me. I did get a bit of suspension damage after that spin. And he messaged me, or he voice chatted to me to say, look, I'm not gonna pass you. Obviously at this point in the championship, people have that in mind, and I'm grateful that they do. And I suppose the good thing about my 4th position result today is that 3 that finished ahead of me are not championship contenders. And unfortunately for Simon, as much as I would like to have had a fair fight with him, he finished way down the field. So I guess overall I was quite lucky in this race.
So let's talk first of all about the incident itself, because you came into the corner, you had Simonson ahead of you, and I believe, I'm not sure if it was Clay Hughes at the time, but you came into the corner, all looked fine, but then driver ahead seemed to just slow down a little bit on the apex of the corner. That slowed you down, and then you got T-boned from behind. Correct?
Not quite.
Okay.
I didn't slow down to avoid hitting the guy in front. I kept my distance. I didn't feel like I had to slow down any more than I needed to. So I think I was carrying good speed through that corner. But, you know, that is a very tricky corner, and it's a Constantino effect. Just because you don't have to slow down as much or at all doesn't mean that the guy behind you doesn't have to either. And the thing with the Constantino effect is that it magnifies down the chain. So I guess, I don't know who it was. Was it Ben who spun me around? You know, he would have been at the receiving end of that Constantino effect working its way back to him. So, no, I didn't have to slow down. But obviously, he with 2 cars ahead of him, it's harder to judge when you got to brake and how hard you got to brake. And obviously got caught out. But, you know, we've all done that. I've done that many a time. So no ill feelings towards that.
And just for the record, it was actually Benny ahead of you at that point. Is this just the thing about Summit Point? I mean, we had 40+ cars in this track. It always gets congested. Is it a track that you just kind of have to put an asterisk next to and say, okay, something crazy might happen. I might end up in the wall?
Yeah, exactly right. And there's 2 ways you can play that card, which is to say, well, because something crazy is going to happen, what do I do? Do I sit back and wait for it to happen? Well, you could be sitting back all race long and nothing will happen. You end up way down the field. So what you're going to do is you've got to harass, you've got to show intent. That doesn't necessarily mean that you've got to actually pull off an aggressive move. But if your body language says that you might do, and that's enough to give the guy in front of you jitters, then you're creating a situation from which you can benefit. So you've got to basically create your own chaos. But it is one of those tracks where you could get caught up in your own chaos that you've created. So it is a very fine balancing act, this track, and that's why pole is very important. To get pole is key here. A little bit like Lime Rock, where it's very similar in nature. So, yeah, it is one of those. How shall I describe it? You've got to have your elbows out and your muscles out, kind of track.
Well, thank you very much. We'll let you go for Heem. Who do you want to give a shout out to?
Well, I really want to give a shout out to my team. I know I say that all the time, but this time round, I'm sure you followed the iRacing Le Mans 24-hour series that went on over Friday and Saturday. And as you know, Thrustmaster Nirvana won the LMP2 class. And, you know, I don't care whether it's real-life racing or sim racing, to win an event after 24 hours is some taking. So I'm really happy about that. It gives me a lot of, obviously, happy and proud that I'm in a team that's a winning team, and also gives me a lot of impetus and encouragement to do better here. So shout out to those guys, and obviously for you guys for covering the event as you do without any pay for a good charitable cause. So thank you very much for all of that.
Not to worry there, ladies and gentlemen. That is Raheem Atanides. We've got 2 drivers left to talk to, but before we do that, let's see if I can just rewind that tape. 1 second. No, I need to do it a few more seconds than that. And then we're going to get our look. Here we are, Benny Simonson. This is him, that first move. Now, you got to ask the question, at what point do you take the line into the corner? I mean, these two have been going at it for the last 5 minutes in terms of YouTube, Neil. And Benny Simonson said that he was alongside at the point of the corner entry. Simon Povey said, well, no, he wasn't. But it's at what point do you turn, I think, is the one that Simon Povey's trying to make. And Benny Simonson saying, well, there's 2/3 of the racetrack there, and you kind of took the part that I was angling into.
Yeah, it's one of these age-old discussions in all types of racing, isn't it? What is the point? What is the point in which you give room? What is the point that you decide to concede the place? What point do you decide to back out if you are the car on the inside? It's very, very, very difficult to say, really, isn't it? It's just one. It just appears like one of these miscommunications, one of these racing incidents. Yeah, it's always very fine, that line between deciding to go for a move or deciding just to back out of it.
Yeah, and you can just see, we just having a look at Simon Povey and his cockpit camera. He's just starting to turn the wheel to the left at the point that you can see that Benny Simonson has, at that point, let's call that a nose and a tyre before they come down into the corner. What you're going to see here as we speed it back up. Well, you kind of know what happens from then on in. But we've got ourselves Paul Thurston here to talk to. He comes home in the top 10 today. Well, Paul, that was a little bit interesting, wasn't it?
Yeah, usually is here. 14 places I'll have that. I mean, I started in 24th and I think I was 13th at the end of the first lap. That's one of my better first laps, I think. And it was purely and utterly due to my total skill and talent.
Oh, I love it when you're like this, Paul. But I mean, you would have been in the thick of it when that incident on lap 1 happened. I mean, talk us through it from your perspective.
You know what actually happened in slow motion, to be honest. I mean, obviously I was coming up to the left-hander, and I could see tons of dust thrown up ahead, so okay, something big's happening here. But I had my own problems with people all around me and someone trying to get down the inside. But I followed it. I took the wide line and then just lifted off, obviously, but let the car roll. I didn't brake, because if I braked, somebody would have slammed up the back. So you just got to keep some momentum, but then be alert. Now I saw cars left and right, and I just jinked left and right and got through. I mean, I saw Baz in front of me doing exactly the same, and he managed to get through unscathed as well. Darrell was a little bit less lucky. He was earlier on the scene and had to go off in the grass, but he came out okay, but was then behind us. But it's just that's an unusual situation on the first lap, and that actually made for a brilliant little group that we had. We ended up then had I don't know if we were the second or third pack or whatever, but there was me, Tim Adcock, Baz, Simon Maltby, and Darrell was shortly behind us. Rob Plumley. It was like all the old boys basically, like we were sort of going down the pub for a drink afterwards. It was great.
Carry on. Sorry.
No, I think I'd run out there actually.
Say we've got 3 rounds left of the champion. That's not right. 2 rounds left of the championship to go. In terms of you and the championship, you were 17th heading into this one. You had a bit of a gap back to the top 15. Result here today, is that now your aim, trying to get into that kind of like top 10, top 15 gaggle?
I'm really not worrying about the championship this year because it's, I mean, so many things have happened over this. I'm looking at this as a transitional season, really. I mean, what with swapping, you know, changing the pedals, losing a couple of races right at the beginning, so I've got no races to drop. If I get points in the other ones, I will pull up because other people will have to drop races and I won't. But I can't see the top 10 being a serious serious aim this year. So I'll help. Daryl's on a good run this year. He's on a decent one. So if I can help him, I'll help him out. But I'll just concentrate on my own driving, and to be honest, starting to think about the World Cup anyway. So that's going to be a distraction for up until November when that happens. That's going to get quite busy soon.
Yeah, indeed. And the finals of the World Cup of iRacing will again be here on RaceSpotTV. And before anyone says, oh, RaceSpot, you're just doing the finals, you're not doing anything else, we have a good reason this time, Paul. It's because Hugo gets married on the day's the semi-finals, and I'm one of his groomsmen, so we're both in Brazil. I can't really get away with it that time, unless Paul will do it.
Not with that attitude.
Well, it's not my fault. I'm on the opposite side of the world here, but Paul, before we let you go, you don't want to give a shout out to?
Well, the rest of the team, to be honest, we had a really good result today. I mean, Daryl came in 9th. I was at last lap. Daryl got past Tim, and meant Tim was a little bit slow into the first corner, and I just dived on the inside and got him as well. So I think he's probably a little bit aggrieved. He probably thinks we sandwiched him or something, which we didn't. But that was fun. And Baz had a great little recovery drive after going off. So it's a good little team. Gary's going to be back soon. He's been rebuilding his rig again. So once we've got 4 of us in there, you watch us go.
Well, thank you very much, Paul. First, I'm going to hand it over to Neil. He has got Barry West then, who came home all the way down on the dizzy heights of 30th place.
So from those dizzy heights of 30th place, tell us what happened in your race.
Well, I had a great race, actually. I mean, brilliant race after they got through the melee in front of Paul and Dowell. Was having a great race with Ewan, Rob Plumley, Simon Maltby. Yeah, we were having a great race, and then Simon made a sort of a tactical error, really. He tried to attack, I think it was Ewan, into the last turn, which slowed them both up, which gave me a run down the inside, and I got past. I think on lap 4, Simon was on the inside, and I gave the corner to him. This time, I wasn't going to be so friendly, and he went round the outside. I think it was turn 3. It's a long one where you got the run off into the sand. Turn 3 or 4, and we went round side by side without touching, which was good. But as we came out, Simon went a bit wide, touched the sand. As he came back on, I don't think he realised that I was nearly level with him, and I had nowhere to go. And basically, he just pulled over for the hairpin and pushed me off the track. But to be honest to him, I don't think he realised I was there. One of those things. It was a great race. Yeah, I had a bit of pace here because I've actually done some practice this week and did one race this afternoon. So I was comfortable, put it that way. And if I'd have realised he was coming over, I wouldn't have put my car in that place. But because we'd been through the corner before side by side, I thought we could go around the fast kink right before so that I'd have the inside for the sharp left. But that wasn't to be the case. And of course, I think I had more damage. I couldn't drive to get a tow back, and then by the time I came out, I was in the lowly 30th place. But yeah, great race. I just love this track. I mean, I think now I've got a bit of pace on it. It's such a great track for racing.
Tell us about how your season here in the UK and Ireland Monday Night Skippies is.
Well, it's a rebuilding season, as Paul said. I'm sure we'll come back with a vengeance next season, and it was just a learning experience for me. I just need to be more consistent, which I was being, and safer, and then yeah, I mean, that was just a racing incident today. I mean, I don't hold any grudge against Simon. I'm sure when he looks at the replay, he'll think that he could have held it a bit tighter. But yeah, that's just the fun of it, isn't it? I mean, it's just the season itself had some good results. Mainly people coming off and just keeping the car on the track. I mean, that's usually gave me results, but this one, I did feel I had some pace, because I think I was one of the fastest bananas today, which is very unusual.
So tell us, yeah. Sorry, you go.
Should have been in top 10 if I'd have stayed in the position when I came off. I'd have been in front of Paul and Rob Lumley and that. So yeah, it would have been a good place to the end, I think. But not to be, but one of those things.
So just before you head off as well, is there anyone else that you'd like to shout out to?
Well, no, I just like to thank the team for having me, and for you guys for doing some amazing broadcasts. Yeah. Great Monday evening.
Well, thank you. That was Baz West there. Neil, final thoughts from Summit Point?
An incredible, very chaotic race, as you expect at Summit Point anyway, but especially with these 47 cars that took to the grid. It was rather unbelievable. Some very interesting moves throughout the race, let's put it that way, but it was eventually Benny Simonson in that 41 car that did come out on top. But yes, a fantastic race this evening, and what a way to induct myself into the Monday Night Skippies commentary.
Does indeed. Thank you very much. That's for Neil. And Rachel Whiteford should be back next week. We never know about Linus because, well, it's Linus. Of course, Monday Night Skippies is in support of the Campaign Against Living Miserably, or also known as CALM. If you or someone that you know is struggling with mental health conditions, then visit thecalmzone.net. Mental health is the biggest killer of men under the age of 45 in the UK, and we here at RaceSpotTV are proud to support them from Monday Night Skippies broadcasts. Want to give a shout out as well to Andres One, the official graphics partner of RaceSpotTV. We'd like to give ourselves also a thank you to Simon Grossman at Engineering.com, and also to Nick Thisson for RaceSpotTV live timing and scoring. We would say it's Van Ballard, but it weren't his cameras today because he's never made any for this track, because we only come here once in a blue moon. That guy over there has been Neil Heatley. I have been Will Vinson. I forgot to put the dryer on before this broadcast, so I've had to get slapped around the face. But in the meanwhile, good night from Summit Point Raceway.